This episode is brought to you by North Texas Honda Dealers. North Texas Honda Dealers, they're here to help.
He has time, launches it to the end zone. Touchdown! Terrence Williams!
The throw goes to the right side for Crabtree. It's caught. He's going hard. Red Raider.
Bussey up the 10. Bussey up the right sideline.
Yeah, he's got to go. He's tackled. Sam Houston wins it. The Bearcats capture their first FCS championship.
Hello, welcome to the Republic of Football. I'm your host, the college editor here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, Ishmael Johnson, here back fresh from 4th of July holidays with Carter Yates. What's up, man?
Not much. I just saw myself on that new intro that Mallory made, and it got me excited.
Yeah, exactly. Officially part of the crew now. And, of course, he mentioned her, Mallory, everyone's favorite Mal Pal. How are you doing, Mallory?
Good to be here.
Yeah.
Good to be live.
Yeah,
How
it's good to
about
be
this?
live.
This is your first. No, this is your second live
time
show because we had
live.
Craven
Yeah.
on here before, but this is like our first live show in a very, very long time.
Yes,
so
very pumped for
excited
that.
to be back.
Yeah, exactly. We're hoping to do this, get back on regular schedule with our live shows for now on Wednesdays. By the way, we got back from 4th of July. What everybody do? Everybody kind of do their own thing?
Yeah, we celebrated on the 3rd of July this year, because we got Tuesday off too, which was the actual 4th, and so we just got to kind of like relax the entire day yesterday.
Nice.
I don't think Pickle and I moved from the couch at all. We got up and we made
Sounds
breakfast
great.
tacos, and then we laid on the couch for the entire rest of the day.
Sounds
So
good to me.
it was fantastic.
They finished season 3 of Too Hot to Handle.
Correct.
That sounds like
Correct. Yeah, we did.
awesome
We
day.
It was fantastic. A lot of trash TV. That's the best day you could ask for.
Perfect.
Just binge watching trash TV. But it was
Yeah.
great. It was a lot of fun.
So I did it up on Friday and Saturday. I was at one of my friends' weddings that I've known since middle school, but then took it really easy, Monday and Tuesday. I got to say, I think July 4th is in the top 3 of my holiday power rankings.
Okay.
Although I do contradict myself because I'm not a huge fireworks guy.
Okay. Well, I'm not. I'm
Okay.
going into mine in a bit, but go ahead. So what makes the rest of it kind of for you?
Well, it's just I like the outdoor, the middle of summer.
Yeah.
I like the outdoor vibe. I like the barbecue. I do like just the all around like Independence Day vibe. Like one day we're like, whoa, I love America. I love it.
The rest of the year, we're like, nah.
But that
kinda
one
like
day
blah.
it's kind of fun to be a little patriotic.
Right. Okay, I like that. I did kind of the opposite of you guys, Mallory. I did nothing on Monday.
Okay.
And then Tuesday, we went to, I live in Las Colinas, and so there's Levy Park, which is kind of their events area, and they had like a concert and all that. A lot bigger than I thought it would be. And that's where off the lake you can kind of see the fireworks and the drone show. And I have officially converted over to a drone person. I am pro drone over fireworks.
You know what? So
Yeah.
there was going to be one in Denton on the 3rd. So that's why we went to the Denton Square on the 3rd and to watch an actual drone show. I think this was the first year they were doing it. Besides, they usually do fireworks, I think, but this was the first year they're going to try the drone show, and it got rained out.
Okay, wait.
It was terrible.
What is a drone show?
So drones are a lot of. I'll get into a little bit why I prefer them now. But drones, literally, they'll have like 5 or 6, but they project like some type of shape or figure, and so
Much safer
because they're
than fireworks.
So that's why I've become more of a drone person, because fireworks, in addition to like, I mean, obviously the Jason Pierre-Paul thing, like they're just dangerous in general for something that anybody can just buy.
Yes.
But also, pollutants get crazy around 4th of July because everybody's setting off fireworks. We just got finished with a couple weeks ago of New York being covered in smog, so it's like pollution, PTSD with some veterans, things like animals, right?
Yeah.
There's always like, there's so many things that go that are like, that make it weird to me why we still do fireworks.
Well, and typically we're still like in a drought.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean,
And so,
this year it's been different because we've had a lot of rain, but usually like
Sure.
at this time we're in like a severe drought.
Sure. And so, so drones, to me, they had the drone show followed by the fireworks. And so they had like a projection of like the Texas, and then it would be like a projection of a sun, and it was like kind of like alternating red, white, and blue, and then it like fade away, and then it showed up the Dallas Cowboy star, and then it fade away, and so it was like legitimately stuff like that. And I was like, I'm watching, like, this is awesome. Like, this is
it's really cool.
There's no smoke going up, there's no noise, so it's just like you're just looking at the visual, and it's really neat because the way they did it was it was like it looked like an effect of like particles flying in, and then they formed the thing. And then when the show was over, they kind of like the particles like flew away like into the wind or whatever.
So y'all aren't firework people at all? You don't like fireworks at all?
No, don't get me wrong. I liked fireworks, but like as I grew to know more about them, and I'm like, every other month there's like a wildfire somewhere.
I know.
It's like
a lot of them caused by fireworks.
Country,
Yeah.
You don't need to have the one day where everybody sets off fireworks.
I totally agree, but counterpoint, we never get the Back It Up Terry video with a drone.
You know what?
Okay, I need your best impression of that right now.
Back up, Terry. Put it in reverse, Terry.
I'm cutting this. I'm cutting that, and I'm putting that as a promo for today's show. Holy shoot, that was so good.
But we're past that
Best
point.
video of all time.
It is the best video of all
So
time.
we have that forever. And now we can move on to the drone.
Yeah.
So, but no. I do. Like I said, this show was great because they have the drones and then the fireworks following it up. But I do think like a lot of people are going to start going to drones. Famous last words before I see a giant Snickers ad in the sky using drones. And so there's a very dystopian possibility with that. But anyway, glad we're back in the studio. A little bit of a rundown on today's show. So we have some transfer news right off the back. We got some broken today. Unfortunately, it's not good for the Lone Star State, in particular Rice. Second, the biggest news, we were going to lead the show and kind of do the whole show based off of this, was the All-Texas teams. We revealed those today. We'll go into those. We'll have Mike Craven, our senior writer, come on, and we'll ask him some questions just in general, go back and forth on kind of his thought process and how we kind of came up with the team. And then we have some big news in the back half about next week,
Stick
Big Zone
around.
Media Day. So we'll stay tuned for that. We'll go into that a little bit later in the back half. But first, Mallory, Rice had some unfortunate news, and unfortunately a bit of deja vu
Yeah,
for him as well.
we were literally talking about this before the show.
Yeah, Bradley Rozner decided, you know what, I'm gonna bail. Similar to Jake Bailey a year ago, who also was their leading receiver heading into that year. He bailed for SMU, I believe, following their director of player personnel who went to SMU, Alex Brown.
Yeah.
Rozner has not announced where he's going. We just saw that he has announced that he's entering the transfer portal. Their leading returning receiver had 876 yards last year, 10 receiving touchdowns in 2022. Him and Luke McCaffrey were set to be, one of the best receiving tandems in the state easily. And with JT Daniels coming in, you were like, oh, man, this is Rice's offense finally going to take that step forward. Now it's going to be Luke McCaffrey kind of handling a lot of that. So, I don't know. Carter, when you saw that news drop, what was kind of your first reaction?
Well, the biggest thing, I think, for Rice now is they need to find a new outside deep threat because Luke McCaffrey is very good as a slot receiver, but Bradley Rozner was a guy who had 19.9 yards per catch, which was fourth nationally. And then when I saw him transfer – I don't know. Maybe you can answer this question. I don't know if this is like an easily answerable question, but it's like, why did he not transfer in the spring portion? Like, why are we waiting till now?
Right now.
In the summer. He's got 1 year left, and look, he's a smart guy. He actually, I was looking it up. This is his final season of eligibility. He's played 8 seasons.
Yeah, it's nuts. He's
in college. He's played 8 seasons.
Yes, so he had 3 years at Cisco College, and then look at his injury history. Injured first game of 2016, out all of 2017. Then he's got a COVID waiver in there, a season-ending injury in preseason practice 2020, also injured all of 2021.
Yeah, he's a 2016 high school grad.
Yeah, 2016 high school
He's
grad.
older than I am.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So he's smart enough to pick up a new offense. Like,
Sure.
immediately he's got his master's in accounting. Like, no one's questioning the intelligence, but it's like, I know he will get picked up because you can always use outside receiver help, but I feel like he could have gotten into a better situation if he had gone through spring ball. I don't know why you wait to transfer until now.
Right.
Yeah. I need. I'm curious because Mallory, you were asking that question about like
why now? Right.
Why now? We were talking about it a little bit before the show, and
I have to feel
what's
like
the reason?
I have to feel like someone was like trying to lure him away.
I was about to say that's what this kind of feels like because last year we kind of made the connection with Alex Brown going from Rice to SMU and then Jake Bailey following him. So it was like, okay, that probably worked a little bit there. This one, Yeah, you have to. I don't know. There's not an obvious connection like that, so I can't say, oh, he's going to so and so. And there isn't like a home. Like he's from Needville, so there's not like a there's not a big university in Needville.
Right.
So like it's not like a going home type thing as far as like easily doing that. But he's a 6'5", 200+ pound wide receiver, right? Anybody in the country could use something like that. So it wouldn't shock me if somebody like you mentioned just kind of got in his ears like, so and so, you could probably play in the.
He could probably
12.
start
Right?
in the Big 12.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. Or maybe if there's an more upper echelon AAC school, I don't know. Wherever he leans, again, like you mentioned, he's that deep threat, 6'5". Like not many guys can be 6'5", 200+ and have production, right? Usually those guys are either raw talented, where it's like, oh, they have the size but not necessarily the production. He has both. And you mentioned the intelligence as well. Obviously, you can't get into Rice. You can't graduate with 2 degrees from Rice unless you're pretty damn smart. So, unfortunately for them, that is a huge blow because I believe they also lost their 3rd leading receiver just to graduation, but I believe he's
But then the other thing about it too is I know Rice is not like this Power 5 program, and you might want to jump up, but it was a pretty good situation he had in there with McCaffrey, the slot receiver, and then what does this say about JT Daniels at quarterback?
Yeah.
You go through all of spring practice with JT Daniels, a former 5-star, and then we're going to bounce after that?
Right.
Yeah, like that's kind of the name. I mean,
this is total speculation and conjecture, I know, but outside looking in, it seems like a weird
was there
move.
a chemistry issue there or something?
Always a possibility.
Yeah. Do you think UTSA could be out of the question? I mean, with the loss of Zachary Franklin.
Man.
He might fit.
Too.
I was going to say he might fit real well in that offense.
That'd kind of be awesome.
I was about to say, how Rice fans don't listen. That'd be awesome.
That'd be a good fit for him, I think. But, what do we know?
Zachary Franklin's a little smaller, but still, regardless, that'd be awesome for him.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, we're fans of where he went. It was. We'll talk about the All-Texas team here in a bit, but it was down to him and Luke McCaffrey as far as like one of the wide receiver slots. So, so that's unfortunately some news. Some quick housekeeping before we get to the All-Texas news. Corey Hogue dropped a Q&A with the new American Southwest Commissioner David Flores right now on TexasFootball.com. Go check that out. It's his first Q&A, kind of a big sit-down with a conference commissioner. Kind of talks about their future of the conference, possible expansion, things like that. So definitely go give that a read. Also, we're starting to put our previews from the magazine up on the website right now. If you are a subscriber, right now we just have Baylor up. We'll be getting the rest of the schools, all 13 FBS plus FCS plus conference previews plus non-FBS. All that stuff in the next couple of weeks will be coming online for all subscribers. Definitely go check out the Baylor comprehensive preview, offensive breakdown, defensive breakdown, depth charts, player features. I believe there's one on Bryson Jackson in this one. Game-by-game predictions, and as well as recruiting breakdowns, transfers, all that stuff. Everything you get in the magazine will be up on the website right now. Definitely go check out Baylor. Like I said, just up now on TexasFootball.com. Okay. So while Mallory gets Mike Craven on the line, I'm going to go and tell you a little bit about our friends at homefield.com, homefieldapparel.com. Homefield is our network sponsor for ROF, Republican Football Network, I should say. You can use our promo code DCTF for 15% off your first-time purchase, and I am very excited to say that they have a new drop coming on Saturday. I know we're a Texas podcast, but Notre Dame's dropping this Saturday. I'm going to say it right now. We got a new drop, 10 a.m. on Saturday. If you're a Notre Dame fan like me, I know they have kind of national-wide appealing fan bases. Definitely check them out. Penn State as well, if you're a Big Ten fan out there. They're coming soon. But staying on topic for Texas, I mean, we've talked about it every week. You're going to get tired of hearing us talk about how much we love all these drops that they've done. I have a Texas Tech shirt that I might wear tomorrow. I thought about wearing it today.
I'm still waiting on my TCU one. I'm so excited for that one.
Yes, I did get it. It has shipped.
Yes,
so yes, she has a TCU one.
I can't wait.
I have a Lamar hoodie. I might wear that the first episode we're back after we get them, just to show them off on air. So yeah, homefieldapparel.com. Promo code DCTF, 15% off your first-time purchase. Help us out here. Or again, if you're listening to any show on the ROF network, please, they all have promo codes. You can go support them as well. Again, that is 15% off your first-time purchase at homefieldapparel.com. Let me get my headphones now because I don't have them on. Now we're joined by our senior college writer, Mike Craven, on the line in Austin, Texas. Mike, we dropped our all-Texas teams. Have you gotten anybody yelling at you yet?
No yelling at me yet. I'd imagine that starts this week at some point, though.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into we're going to go through the full list is on TexasFootball.com, so definitely go check that out. We're going to get into the offense first. First team offense. We'll just list we'll kind of pick and choose second teams, but Mallory has a graphic here for the first team. So I'm going to look at the individuals first. Best quarterback, Frank Harris. Best running back, Richard Reese. Wide receiver, Xavier Worthy. Best offensive lineman, Kelvin Banks Jr. Now for the first team offense, I'm just going to go list the names and we'll talk. Frank Harris, Richard Reese, Taj Brooks, Xavier Worthy, Evan Stewart, Josh Cephas, Jatavian Sanders, Kelvin Banks, Patrick Paul, Clark Barrington, Justin Osborne, Andrew Coker, Anais Smith, Griffin Kell. Now, Craven.
Griffin.
Yeah.
Arlington High grad.
Oh, there you go. Craven, I want you to go back to, let's say, midway through the season last year. Is there any name on here that you would have been like, if I would have asked you in October that this guy was going to be on a preseason list, you would have said, really, him?
That's a great question. I guess Joshua Cephas maybe, just because Zachary Franklin kind of always overshadowed that wide receiver room and kind of was the one with the most spotlight. It feels like it would be difficult to put two wide receivers from the same team on the first team, just given how deep the wide receiver position is in the state. Like I would say there's more wide receiver talent at Texas college football level, at the FBS level, than there is any other position. So, I would have thought Cephas was going to be a second team guy with Zachary there on the first team. And then the other one may be Taj Brooks.
Yeah.
Splitting carries with Thompson there for multiple years. We thought Alton McCaskill was going to be back in the state. And so for Taj to have as good of a year as he did, he was one of the leading runners after contact in college football. Like he's up there with Bijan and Rashawn Johnson. Like he was excellent. And so for him to elevate himself up into the first team in that offense, where it can be so pass happy, I think he was another one that maybe would have surprised me if you would have told me last October.
Did this list kind of start? I mean, we talk a lot about Frank Harris and UTSA, but did this list kind of start, okay, Frank Harris a quarterback, and then everything goes from there?
Yeah, I mean, there are some guys that, for sure are going to be there. Frank Harris is going to be the quarterback with what he's been able to accomplish. And quietly, you look around the rest of the state, there's not a whole lot of proven commodities elsewhere. Finding a second-team quarterback was pretty difficult because, there's just not a whole lot of returning production, a whole lot of consistent experience. So Frank Harris, we watch soccer, you and I-ish, and so first on the team sheet is a phrase that they talk about a lot. Frank Harris was one of those guys. Xavier Worthy, obviously, one of those dudes. Jatavian Sanders, Kelvin Banks, Patrick Paul. So there were some guys that you knew had to be first team players. But yeah, I mean, when you only get one quarterback and Frank Harris is in the state still, it's going to be Frank.
Yeah, looking at some of the second team guys, Quinn Ewers, we ended up going with Quinn Ewers, which, again, you can talk about last year kind of being up and down, but I think, and you can kind of talk about this too, when you think about preseason, right, it's kind of a combination of what they've done / what we kind of hope they do, and I think he's the right mixture of, having enough production to work off of versus also, we're expecting something pretty big from him in this year.
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody could tell me other options, right? When we put out the magazine, Tyler Shuck or Baron Morton, we didn't know exactly who was going to start. I mean, I had a hunch, but we didn't know for sure. And then Shuck's been injured, big time for the last 2 seasons. So do you pick him? Obviously, Blake Shapen at Baylor had an inconsistent year. Chandler Morris got injured in game 1, and Max Duggan took that over. Clayton Toon's gone. Tanner Mordecai's gone. So there's a bunch of guys in the state that I think we could have this conversation in January and go wow, how did we miss Preston Stone throwing for 5,000 yards or something at SMU? But in terms of seeing who's done it, really it's Frank Harris and everybody else. And so, after that, it went Quinn Ewers is a former 5-star recruit who we saw, have success early against Alabama, have some highlights throughout his 10 games last year. And just the upside, not only with himself, but with that Texas offense, it feels like he's poised to have a huge year.
When you woke up this morning and you saw Rice receiver transfers, did your heart drop for a second?
I did, yeah. I kind of got a little bit of a hint of it yesterday, but I was busy. It just kind of didn't really I don't know. It just didn't really register in my brain.
Yeah.
And then when that came out today, it was well, I'm glad I picked Luke McCaffrey to be on the second team instead of Rozner, because I had that conversation. I mean, I texted Rice's coaches back in April, May, and be like, I can only pick one. I know y'all want me to pick 2, but I can only pick one. And so luckily, McCaffrey was the guy we picked, or that would have been I would have had a tougher day today. I wouldn't be talking to y'all right now.
I know, just when the magazine hits. All right, let's look over to defense for now. Let's look at individuals. Jalen Hutchings, best defensive lineman. Jalen Ford, who also was named preseason Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. He gets best linebacker from Texas. Josh Newton from TCU, best DB. Austin McNamara from Texas Tech, best special teams. Running through the first-team defense, Jalen Hutchings, Dominic Williams, McKinley Jackson, Trey Moore, Jalen Ford, Johnny Hodges, Tyrese Knight, Josh Newton, Ridge Tejada, Rashad Wisdom, Damani Richardson, Austin McNamara, like I mentioned, at punter. Okay, so was there a hardest person to leave off of this list? Because I have one name, but I'm curious about who was yours.
To lead off the first team?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean – Probably someone like Mason Richards from North Texas.
That's a good one.
You know, that Trey Moore or Mason Richards. You know, who the UTSA North Texas battle. I don't. You know, I don't think anybody's going to be surprised where I leaned there. I guess. Sure. But you know, for me, the difference, honestly, for me wasn't even that. That was joking. For me, the thing that really made the difference is North Texas is moving to an odd man front this year. He's gonna be a 4-eye. He's gonna play defensive end, not so much on the outside, but you know, in between the guard and the tackle. Sometimes just head up with the tackle. I don't know if his production, even if he has an excellent year, I don't know if the production will match that. I know Trey Moore is going to be allowed to just feast off the edge, and so for me, that's where I went Trey Moore. But that was probably the biggest one for me. And then overall, it was best defensive back.
Sure.
I think Josh Newton is that guy, but as we talked about with wide receiver on the offensive side, you know, we're a 7-on-7 state, and you can see it at the college football level because those defensive backs are as talented as anybody. There's guys on the second team that are going to – Tyreek Chappelle at Texas A&M may be a top 2 or 3 round draft pick in the NFL, and he's on our second team. And so secondary was tough, and especially best defensive back.
Yeah, I just saw some Tech fans giving you some shtick. They wanted both their big boys up there with Tony Bradford and Jalen Hutchings, which, I mean, I like Tony Bradford, but it's fair. But I like Tony Bradford, but it's hard for me to pick him over some of those other guys. And granted, if this was, let's say if it was a Power 5, sure, maybe he'd probably up there instead of, like you mentioned, Caesar or somebody, you know, or not Caesar, Markel Perry from Sam Houston or something like that. But we have to take into account a lot of the Group of 5 guys who, production-wise, maybe have a little bit more on their plate.
Yeah, it's not a draft board.
Right.
And it's not just an overall talent or my favorite guys or whatever, you know. And so I think the cool thing at Dave Campbell's is we cover Sam Houston the same way as we cover Texas, the same way that we cover 2A as we cover 6A at the high school level. And so, you know, for me, putting together this all-Texas college list, it has to have at least one player from each of the FBS teams. To me, that is part of the requirements that I set for this list. And for Sam Houston, you know, their best guy is Markel Perry. For Rice, example, their best player is Luke McCaffrey. For Texas State, it's Torrey Spears. And so you almost do it in reverse, where you go, okay, the best player at Sam Houston is Markel Perry. I have to put him on the list. And so now I have to build the defensive lineman out from there, right? And so, you know, I think that's a big part of it that maybe sometimes gets lost in translation is we're not trying to just make this a power poll where it's just like, and it happens in the power poll, right? Where it's not who's going to beat who or who's better than who. It's in a comparison. Markel Perry, as a defensive lineman in Conference USA, in my opinion, has a better chance to be first team all conference than maybe a Tony Bradford or, you know, Shamar Stewart or some of the other uber talented players that are better overall prospects that I left off.
Right. All right, Craven, I got a question for both sides of the ball here. Which superlatives, so best linebacker, best wide receiver, are the fans going to get most mad at you for this week after they read this list?
I'd imagine it's wide receiver. I think there's the most. I think Richard Reese has to be the running back.
Yes.
Frank Harris has to be the quarterback. Anybody who wants to argue with me for Kelvin Banks can hear my laugh if they'd like to.
Right.
And so for me, it's wide receiver. Like especially when Zakari was still in the state. You know, when Zakari was at UTSA, you know, he had the leading most receptions, yards, and touchdowns last year. So when he transferred, it was like, okay, is it Xavier Worthy or is it Evan Stewart? Xavier Worthy took a step back last year. Just did. We can blame it on the broken hand or the lack of consistency at quarterback or whatever we want to blame it on. But he took a step back, and Evan Stewart, towards the end of the year, looked like one of the best wide receivers in the country. not just the state, like in the country. Like, that dude is a superstar.
Yeah.
And so, I can absolutely understand any A&M fans who are like, Evan Stewart's the best wide receiver in the state, because he might be.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that if somebody were to come and tell you right now, hey, I'm from the future, I'm from December, Evan Stewart had a better year, I don't think we'd be shocked, right? Like if A&M, again, it's all pending A&M's offense clicking, right? But based off past production, we know what Worthy did his freshman year. He took a step back last year, but even then, right, still barely sub 800 yards receiving, quarterback who hadn't thrown a real in-game pass in 2 years. So like, okay, it's also not out of the question to say, yeah, no, Xavier Worthy's just going to get back up to what he was maybe on track to do as a freshman.
Well, even then, he has 21 touchdown receptions in the past 2 years, which is third in program history at Texas.
If this was and Craven, you can back me up on this. We have this discussion a lot to where it's like, are we judging off of what they've done or what they will do? And my question is always both. Like it's impossible if we just go off of what they will do. Then this whole list will be like, all right, well, it doesn't matter what they did last year. We're just like Quinn Ewers maybe quarterback number 1 this year.
That's what I was going to say, because Quinn
Walter Nolan would be the best defensive lineman in the state if we were doing that.
Right. And Quinn Ewers would be probably the best quarterback, but this is not a most talented or highest potential list. That's why Frank Harris is the legit QB1 in this, because he's 31-9 as a starter and the most decorated, productive QB in Texas. I think this list, and I think Craven, does it like this as well. I think this list is probably 70-30 past production to future.
Sure,
production.
I think that's a decent way to look at it, in my opinion. Like, I don't know, Craven, can you co-sign that?
Do you agree?
Yeah, I think that's the right way to look. Like, I look at it as tiebreakers. Yeah. Right? If I'm sitting there and I have two players that I'm either discussing with myself about best player or even second team defensive back, right? And it's like I have one more spot left and there's two guys that deserve to be on the list. I'm going to lean more on their past production than my opinion. Yeah. Just because I know my opinion is flawed. Like I'm a human, so like I'm going to be wrong. Where I can't. It's harder for me to explain. Like if a coach comes to me and is like, "Man, how'd you put so and so in front of my guy? Like my guy's better than that." Well, I can go, "Well, he had 60 tackles and 6 interceptions last year. And your guy didn't."
Right.
You know. But if I just go, "Well, I've been watching football for a long time, coach," I think, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't work. Like, that's not a real thing. So I think the 70-30 thing is dead on. And to finish Carter's question, I think on defensive side of the ball, I think the one where I could probably get the most flack is defensive line. Clearly the best defensive lineman of last year left. Like it helps me that Jalen Ford is back. Right. For what he did last year, put him at linebacker. I mean, Josh Newton was first team all Big 12 guy, so I think putting him at defensive back is fine. I don't know if anybody's going to yell at me for special teams. If they do, just block somebody. But like defensive line is kind of up in the air because it's not, especially if you're picking a defensive tackle, because he's not going to put up a bunch of production.
Sure. And it's also it's in general, it's a page turning kind of a year when it comes to like the defensive line. It's like kind of the next up class of like who the new guy's going to be.
Yeah, but the guys who know ball will be able to tell the defensive tackle he's the best defensive lineman.
Right.
Yeah. And so honestly, and I don't do this for a lot of these positions, I honestly just polled as many coaches that I could about who the best defensive lineman in the state is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Because like I couldn't just go like, well, that guy had 13 sacks, so I'm just going to say him.
Right.
And so like J.J. Taylor left.
Right.
And so Tyree Wilson left. And so it was like, okay, well now I got to go get the Texas Tech defensive line. People mentioned the interior of that defensive line a lot. And the name that they mentioned the most was Jalen Hutchins, and so that's where I went with that, because I think part of this job is realizing you're not the smartest one in the room and just kind of listening to people who are.
Sure. All right, it's Mike Craven. Like I said, our all Texas teams are up. We will be rolling out more magazine content as the weeks roll on, as we get closer to the season. Craven, thanks, man. Get some rest.
Of course, appreciate you.
Yep. Alrighty, so like I said, we will be rolling out more content. Our Baylor preview is up now. Again, check out our all Texas teams on TexasFootball.com. All right, I hinted a little bit of it. Have some big news coming up.
Some really big news?
Some pretty big news.
Interesting news?
Interesting news. Mallory, I'm gonna let you go with this
Me?
news. Yeah.
I get to make the big announcement? Why do I get to make it?
Because I don't know, it's kind of your crafting, I guess.
It's all of our crafting.
Yeah, but you did a lot of the boring paperwork for it.
It's true. Okay. Big announcement. As we mentioned, next week is Big 12 Media Days. And on that Wednesday, now, for those of you that don't know the format of Big 12 Media Days, it's broken up into 2 days because now there's 84 billion teams in the conference, but it's always been like that. So next Wednesday and next Thursday are the Big 12 Media Days. And on Wednesday, the Republic of Football is actually going to go live from Big 12 Media Day. We have not done this before, so we're super, super, super excited to try this out. Now, of course, it's not going to be video just because we don't own the rights to the video of Big 12 Media Day. I believe that belongs to ESPN, but we are going to be more of like a radio / podcast, but we're going to be live at Big 12 Media Day starting at noon on Wednesday. So please, please, please tune in to that. Will be live on all of our regular media channels like YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, for the most part. So, and we'll have a couple of really cool guests on too. I won't spoil that yet, but we'll have a packed show for you guys. Super, super excited about it.
We tried to outbid ESPN for the video rights too.
We did.
Fell just short.
Just short. A couple of dollars. Couple of dollars.
I was about to say, I had $3. Carter had a nickel.
I had a piece of candy. Didn't go for it.
I had a Whataburger coupon as well too.
For some reason, they didn't go for that. So I guess, I don't know. I guess it wasn't enough. We'll try again next year. But yeah, so we'll be there. We'll be rolling deep. We got some Republic of Football network members as well. Will be there in attendance with us. They may hop on. We'll see who we get. Yeah, like Mallory said, we'll have some special guests as well. We have a chock full day because we'll be going live, and then obviously we'll have a bunch of content on TexasFootball.com. We'll be doing what we did, if you remember, last year. A lot of video content as well, interviews from the sidebars, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm excited, man.
On that Wednesday is going to be the most packed day for all of us, and then for all y'all following along on the website on YouTube, because it's all Texas college teams except for Texas Tech on that Wednesday. They're splitting it up 7-7. There's like, 5 or 6 Texas
something
teams
like that. Yeah, the second day is gonna be weird because like it's gonna be all of us just like swarming Texas Tech.
Oh yeah,
like, literally.
It's just gonna be like us grabbing like all. I think they're bringing like 4 players. But yeah, it's gonna be everybody's gonna be kind of scatterbrained the first day, and then like the next day is like everybody's just gonna gang up on Texas Tech for us. So
yeah, because these media days are where we get most of our content from, like preseason wise. Like we take quotes and we prepare basically for the college football season at these media days. So it's very busy for us. Hopefully it's going to be busy for you guys, so you can follow along on all of our social channels. So please do.
Yeah,
and I'm so excited for this media day too because it's got everybody under the same roof. 2 people leaving, 4 people coming in. It's like shifting times. The Big 12.
It's going to be. I feel like tensions are going to be high too. I feel like tensions are going to be a little high. I don't know.
I was about to say it's going to be. We're going to get some little side shots, side swipes at Texas and Oklahoma, or we're going to get some side swipes from Texas and Oklahoma as they're leaving.
Maybe we'll get it on video. Who knows?
Maybe. Who knows? I would love that. So yeah, like I said, stay tuned next week. We'll give you more details as that comes up. But yeah, stay tuned for Wednesday when we go live from AT&T, I should say. And that'll do it for us. Like I mentioned, go check out Corey Hogue's piece with David Flores, Q&A sit-down with the ASC commissioner on TexasFootball.com. Go check out the all-Texas football teams. I'm trying to think of the Baylor preview. Keep an eye out for all the rest of the previews as they come out throughout the week. And with that being said, we've interviewed 12 of the 13 FBS head coaches here in the state of Texas. Jimbo Fisher, please give us a call and shout out Home Field Apparel because guess what? They got Rutgers. Go Rutgers.
They sure do.